All right, a good friend, Newt Gingrich, says there's a coming civil war in the Democratic Party. Joins us right now. Newt Gingrich, former House Speaker, Fox News contributor, friend and mentor. So, Newt, the coming, I mean, if I were a glib guy, I'd say it must be between the left and the far left. But I'm not sure that's the point you're making.
No, look, I first of all, as you know, at the America's New Majority Project, we've been tracking public opinion since 2018. And there are issues that are just overwhelming. 83% of the American people, for example, want to see that if somebody's picked up, they're held if they're an illegal immigrant until the federal government can come and get them. Now, 83%. Yet some Democrats voted against it. On the Lake and Riley bill, which would do just that, there were only 46 Democrats voted yes, over 150 voted no. On the issue of whether men should be in women's sports, the country is 79, according to the New York Times, the country is 79% against men in women's sports, and yet only 2 Democrats voted for the bill that would block men from women's sports. All the rest voted with the left. And what's going to happen? Simple. They're going to go home, the public's going to speak out, and you have a survivalist wing and a hardline wing. And they're going to fight each other. The hardline wing is going to say, how dare you vote for these ideas? And the survivalist wing is going to say, you know, I'd like to actually survive. I'd like to actually vote the way the people back home feel. And remember, on almost all these cultural issues, there's like a 15 to 20% minority, and then there's the rest of us. Well, the 15 to 20% is so bitter that they're going to be prepared to fight a civil war in primaries against the people who vote to survive.
When you get into the bread and butter, the economic issues, let's say one big, beautiful bill, tax cuts, spending cuts, going to be very hard. Undoing climate change, okay, you know, no more mandates for electric vehicles and so forth. Do you think that split between survivalists and the traditional lefties will continue?
Sure. Look, first of all, as the president has said bluntly, you don't have to be stupid about climate change to do things that are smart. You said this in the last segment. Moving from coal to natural gas has actually been an enormous net advantage. Going to modular nuclear power, and that's going to be the key to all of the. We'll have to have a huge amount of electricity for artificial intelligence, which requires enormous amount of computing power. Well, modular nuclear energy is going to be the future. It has no carbon footprint. It is dramatically more rational economically than any of the things the left favors. And so you're going to see a fight coming down the road. And on the taxes, it's pretty simple. If you do not pass extending the Trump tax cuts, you create the largest tax increase in American history. Now, how many Democrats in marginal districts? And remember, there were 13 elected in districts that Trump carried. There were another 21 elected in districts where he was within 5%. How many of them want to go home having voted for the largest tax increase in history? And that's what a no vote on the Trump bill is going to be. It'll be a vote for the largest tax increase in history. I think you're going to see a surprising number of Democrats vote with the president when we get around to that big, beautiful bill.
And what about the spending cuts? I mean, right now, House members, committee chairs are talking about $2 to $3 trillion of spending cuts in the reconciliation bill. Here, too, do you think many Democrats will be voting for spending cuts like that?
Well, I think they're going to have a real challenge. First of all, if that number is over 10 years, it's sustainable and doable. If you just go to a work requirement, you're going to save hundreds of billions of dollars. I mean, there are a lot of steps you can take that aren't stupid. So I think you can, in fact, save a huge amount of money. Easily a trillion over 10 years, probably close to $2 trillion over 10 years. Remember, I might say proudly, we were the only Congress in your lifetime to pass 4 consecutive balanced budgets. So I have some sense of this. But again, you wrap the spending cuts with the tax cuts, and now people have to go back home and explain, I just voted for the largest tax increase in history because I was protecting the teachers union, or I was protecting this or that. I don't
This
think
is
that's
Mike
going to
Johnson.
wash.
This is Mike Johnson's coalition argument. You just hit it. You just nailed it. All right,
right.
Newt Gingrich, thank you very much. I'm rooting for it. Civil war with no Democrats. All right, folks, good move. Thank you, Newt. Appreciate it.